appreciate everybody coming on. Yeah, just looking back at the game against Northern Iowa. It just we knew it was going to be a tough challenge for us to go on the road and get a win against a good football team. Really, you got to give Northern Iowa some credit. Feel like we just a lot of missed opportunities there offensively. With some, put together some drives, but just not coming up way with enough scoring opportunities. So we've got to learn from that. Our team has been in a ton of great situational football. We've had games that have come down to the end, which you try to prepare your team for as much in practice, but man, the game situations, real live opportunities for us to learn together, coaches included, just situations that you always ask yourself, what would you do in these situations? And fortunately, we've been pretty good in them, winning some games close at the end, some overtime things, a couple of games in overtime. And then, that was the first one that we weren't able to put it into overtime. Really looking at the middle eight, those last 4 minutes of the first quarter, everybody talks about first half, and then coming out of halftime, really where they kind of got control of the game or got some momentum in the game was they ended the half. They scored 10 straight points, on 2 drives with us not seeing the ball. And then we come down and get a field goal. Then they get a touchdown. And within, a matter of 5 minutes off the clock in the game, it's 17-3. And so we weren't able to keep coming down and scoring. We had our opportunities, but we'll learn from it. And excited to get back at home against another really good opponent that beat us last year in the last, little bit of the game. And it was a good football game last year. They're a top 15 team, have really done a great job and have some close wins themselves. So we've got to have a great week of practice, just like we always preach. I was, just like always when with this team and the leadership on this team, the way they came in yesterday and we're ready to work and ready to watch the film and get better. And then, meeting with the leadership council today, just, it's back to business and getting better and preparing and just having a humble confidence about ourselves that we talk about all the time and preparing for a big game on Saturday.
Okay. Thank you, Coach. We're going to open it up to questions and go first to Barry Bettino.
Morning, Coach. I wanted to ask, first of all, how important is a short memory for Nick after the turnovers on Saturday? How important is that for him this weekend?
I'm really honestly not worried about Nick. I mean, the short memory was just going down the field in like 50 seconds and getting us to the 9-yard line. If there was a hangover effect, the three turnovers came before that. So, I mean, he was cutting it loose and playing hard and got out of a big sack. I mean, there is never an ounce of doubt in that kid's mind. He can throw an interception and then come right over on the sideline and be ready to roll. And that's what you got to have. We have to learn from some of these interceptions. Honestly, I've said this before, the turnovers, the first sack fumble, we've obviously have to get better. We had no chance in the pocket. It was a protection breakdown, came from his blind side. Now we have to be better with our fundamentals with 2 hands on the ball and kind of have, but Bo got beat and just got on him so quick. And then the first pick probably is the one that he would really love to have back. We kind of had a double move in the middle of the field and we're taking a shot and he overthrew him and the safety made a play on the ball and made a pick. And if we had to do it all over again, he would have probably thrown more of a ball on a line and got it on landing a little quicker, but that's the way that it goes. He will call that play again and he'll make it. And so, and then the tip ball interception, that's tough to say anything about that. The protection got up in his face again and, he was going to, throw the ball over to Landon and the ball got tipped and it got intercepted. So really 2 out of the 3 of those, it's not bad decision making. It's not what are you doing type turnovers. They're turnovers that happen in the flow of the game that we have to, help eliminate. And but Nick will be good to go.
Since Branson Combs has made the transition to defense, what have you been most impressed with? I mean, obviously he's made some big plays here the last few weeks.
Yeah, really, this conference season, he's made plays in every conference game that we've had. Big plays, tackles, interceptions now. He's just so young in his time on defense too. I mean, he's just going to continue to get better. It just says a lot about him as a person, the unselfishness to switch positions. He loves playing wide receiver. He's made big plays for us at wide receiver. Heck, I'm watching the film just now, 10 minutes ago, and watched the clip of him making a 4th down touchdown reception against Missouri State last year. And now he's playing defense. And so it just tells you a lot about him and how good of an athlete Branson Combs is, how smart of an athlete he is. And, one of the reasons why we recruited him, offered him when nobody had offered him yet, is just he's a football player. He's something, I don't know what he is exactly, and then he came over here and he's done an outstanding job for us.
You're back home this weekend where you've had really great support this year. What's been the most rewarding for you and your guys to see that support grow this year, specifically with your student section?
Yeah, it's just extremely important. It's exciting. It's a step that you want to take as a football program when you want to talk about not just having a winning season here and there, but it's the overall just culture of when you talk about changing a culture. It's not just sometimes that word gets thrown around and it's just kind of a cliche thing, but it's just kind of a way of life. It's the support from the university. It's the support from the students, like you talked about. It's the tailgates. It's just that's what a championship culture is. It's everything, and it's an expectation. When you see all those people show up and you're a player, I mean, there's an expectation. They're coming here to watch a good football team, and winning consistently keeps them coming back. So we're excited to get back at home again with a really big game. And so, we're excited to be at home.
Jack Cahoon mentioned that he's had a lot more interactions with fans over the last, 12 to 16 months here at restaurants, at Walmart, when he's out shopping. For you, how does that happen and how has that grown for you? Are you seeing more kids come up to you on campus? Are you seeing more people around town come up to you and talk about the team?
Yeah, I think number one, the support has always been good here. I've always said that. It's one of the many reasons why I love this place so much. I mean, I guess it's probably maybe a little bit different from me. I mean, I'm from here, so some of the people are coming up to me, whether, and talking to me just because I'm friends with them or I've known them my whole life, so whether we win or lose or I was the coach or not, that's what this community is about. They're going to support you no matter what. And so, but yeah, I think it's cool for the players. And it's what you want. I mean, and that's what we set out to do when we took over the job, and is to grow this into a consistent winner. And we've got a long way to go. We really do. I mean, and this is a great opportunity for us this weekend to get another, top 25 win. And so I don't know how many that would be, 7 or 8 in the last couple of years. And that's a lot for any program, to consistently line up. And then you just have to keep doing it. You don't want to be a team that's, starts out fast, doesn't finish. It's kind of like a football game, like as a coach, it's like, hey, we have to get off to a good start, but you also have to play good in the middle of the game, and you also have to close the game well. And so that's for us in the season. And as a program, just being consistent. Each day is a new day, and continue to grow this thing.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Let's go next to Matt Barney.
Morning, Coach. First question I have for you, similar to Barry's first question. It's been talked about plenty about, how Nick isn't accustomed to losing. How is he responding to this latest loss?
The same. Honestly, that's what I said there's no flinch in Nick Baker. So honestly, it hasn't even crossed my mind about how Nick Baker is doing. I mean, he's on our leadership council. He walks in the building every day the same way. Look, man, we play in a really tough conference and we want to win them all. And, we've had a lot of, fun locker rooms after close wins, but the game that we play, when you take that field and you get 60 minutes, there's another side of that locker room too. And there's a lot of growing moments in those moments as well. And Nick has, now had two of those and grew from them. We talked about that the last time we were at Kansas State, and we didn't come up in a 2-minute opportunity where we could have scored and pushed it to overtime. And we just talked about how we'll be better for that this season, because those situations will come back again. And then all of a sudden we find ourselves in 2-minute opportunities to win the game, and he does. And now we get in another situation and to go down, and we didn't score, and we'll be in some more of those this year too. And all those learning opportunities for Nick. And as a quarterback, you just continue to bank those. That's why experience is such a big part of that position. And you keep banking all those experiences and getting better. And Nick's one to really critically look at himself first. That's where it starts as a coach, as a quarterback, as a player. What do I got to learn from this mistake? What do I got to learn from this game? Look inside first, and then come to work and get better with a good attitude. That's what this building is going to be like.
Landon caught his 18th career touchdown pass. I know the extra year kind of pads onto his stats a little bit, and you might be a little biased since he's one of your guys, but is he getting to the status of, one of the all-time greats at wide receiver at SIU?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. I mean, you just, the consistency of Landon over the longevity of his career is, a top 2, 3, 4 wide receiver here. It's one of those positions that you got to consistently do it. And Landon has done that, against some top competition. And so, yeah, he'll continue to climb those ranks as long as we're playing. His leadership has been consistent and really, really good and grown. And so, but yeah, most definitely, I mean, Landon Lenoir one day will go in the Hall of Fame.
A few years ago, Missouri State was close to kind of closing shop, it almost seemed like, and then Bobby Petrino comes in and kind of revives the program. Just how much has that meant to the conference as a whole to have Missouri State kind of climbing back from death's jaws, if you will?
I would, I don't know. I mean, they had beat us in 2016 and 17, and so I would say we did the same thing. I don't think probably any programs hope other programs or whatever. We just got to worry about ourselves just like they do. Coach Petrino's done a great job coming there. I think they were 5-5 last year and shared a piece of the conference. And then is right back there in the mix this year. I mean, I say that all the time. I think every program in the Missouri Valley is a good football program, and probably if they played in a different conference, a lot of these teams that don't have winning records in our league would have winning records. So I think there's a lot of good coaches. I think there's a lot of good players that you go up each and every week.
And last one for me, Coach. Jason Shelley, their quarterback, just seems to be getting better and better each week. He can run, he can pass. Is this the guy that you're going to have to spy the entire game?
Yeah, I mean, we just got to play sound defense. He's a playmaker. He's made them better on that side of the ball, and they've always. I mean, Coach Petrino is going to do a great job of scheming up offense and calling the plays and getting his quarterback rolling. But yeah, no, he's a playmaker. He's tough. You can tell he's got a passion for the game, and we're going to have to do a great job to contain him on Saturday.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Matt. And let's go next to Todd Hefferman.
Good morning, Nick. Is Jason Shelley, is he a lot like the Youngstown quarterback, or who else would you compare him to in this league?
Well, we haven't seen Youngstown's. I've seen him a couple times on some crossover games, but is really studying him. But yeah, no, he's just a dual threat quarterback, that can throw it, can extend plays, can do some design runs. He's a competitor. He's experienced. He's an older guy. It would be tough to, say who I, exactly compare him to. Just a, dual threat quarterback. We've seen, several of those over the years, and our defense gets a good taste of it with, Nick can extend plays and scrambles around and does some of that stuff. And then some of the design quarterback run stuff that we do with Javon, I have our defense prepared.
You mentioned Landon. I kind of always thought of him as kind of a possession receiver early in his career. I mean, as a route runner, what goes into him improving in that situation and making himself available, and how does that go to his success?
I think just growing each and every year. I think you've seen him stretch the field, catch some deep balls. I think Landon's a complete receiver. When you think about whether it's Landon's done probably every level of what a receiver, whether it's short routes, it's screens and being a tough runner after the catch, whether it's a deep ball like it was on Saturday on a double move and stretching the field, whether it's really tough catches, contested catches that we've seen him make a ton of here in this season and in the spring season, or it's just being a good route runner and being a possession type guy like you talked about. I think that's why I think he's an elite receiver. And going back to Matt's question of where he ranks, I think that we've seen Landon Lenoir do a little bit of everything here.
I know it's a loaded question, but you have been able to get into the red zone. What do you have to do in the red zone to get more touchdowns?
Yeah, I think, coming into the game, we were doing a pretty good job. Obviously, we've had a few possessions, but, when you look statistically, we were around 70% touchdowns in the red zone, which is where we want to be at the end of the year, looking back and our goals. And obviously, we were 0 for 3 on Saturday. But yeah, so I think like we talked about after the game, I mean, looking back at that situation, the first drive we should have a touchdown, but we don't. So, and then, we ran a reverse on our first play. Play 2 was the play to Tice that we felt like we had open. And then, play 3, they got us in 3rd and 8 and they got us on a sack. We tried drop back pass. And again, we kick a field goal. But there was a scoring play in there. The second time into the red zone, we get it to 4th down and we didn't even get a playoff. We snapped it, it got loud. Wormley thought that he heard a clap, snapped the ball. We didn't even get a playoff in that situation going forward on 4th down. Felt like we had a good play call, but you never know. And then the third time to the red zone was, there at the end of the game, was our 3 trips. Now we kick some longer field goals and those opportunities as well. We have to be better in. So it's just like each week. I think each game is it's a season of its own. I mean, you got to be good in that game. It doesn't matter what you've done before or what you got to be great in the red zone. You got to be great on 3rd down. Some games you are, some games you're not. You got to be consistently good at that if you want to be a team that's scoring a lot of points.
You have a lot of great short yardage backs. Where do you think you're struggling to get those short yards right now? I know you're playing a lot of good run defenses, but is it just a matter of being more physical up front?
You're watching film and I'm watching, North Dakota versus Missouri State, and they get down there in the red zone and they got 3 shots from the 1 yard line and don't get it in. It's, it's not so much number one. Yeah, we play a lot of good players in this league, but on the 4th down and 1 for midfield, we didn't execute what we were trying to get done. And that's on us as coaches of better communication on exactly what we were wanting. But there's 9 guys in there, if there's a 9-man front with good players, there's not a lot of good plays to be called inside the box. Sometimes you got to get downhill, run somebody over and get that 1 yard. So we'll continue to look at things that we can do to put our guys in position. And, that's what we got to do.
If I could ask about Branson Combs, what was that conversation like? I mean, I think he came here as an athlete. I think when you signed him, you called him an athlete, and you can see that how it is. But how did the conversation go and say, hey, we want you to get you on the field as a linebacker right now?
Yeah, it wasn't, not that it wasn't easy, honestly, had a couple conversations with him, had a conversation with him, back in the spring before COVID, and was going to maybe try him out there. And then COVID happened at spring break while we were in spring ball, had to cancel spring practice and all of that. And so it just wasn't good timing to be doing any of that. So we went through last season. And then, I think I've been on record saying before, I think Branson's one of our best 22 football players, overall football players on our team. So we got to get him on the field. And I didn't want to look back on the sideline, and I knew the receivers that we had coming back. I knew that, if we're in 12 personnel, it's hard to take Landon or Avante off the field if we're, and then we've got Isaiah, and then we got Jerron, and obviously Branson would be playing as well. But sometimes at wide receiver, you look in and you got your maybe a backup wide receiver, and you got 15 to 18 reps, and you don't have a big effect on the game. And I wanted Branson to be what he's doing now, being in the mix and making a huge impact, which I feel like he can be an impact player. And so, not that he exactly wanted to do it, but I think that ultimately he's a team guy. And I told him, look, we'll try it. We'll try it out. I think it's easier to try it out. He could come back and play receiver and get going and play receiver in this game, for 10 or 12 reps if we really needed him to. So I think we wanted to give him a full training camp and see. And I think you could see that he was going to be a good player. Everybody needs some time to develop. So I think now we're just seeing the beginning of what could be a really good player on defense.
And how is Jakari Patterson? And do you think you'll have Jacob Garrett back this weekend?
Yeah, I think we'll have Jacob this weekend. Obviously he's coming off injury and he hasn't had a training camp and all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to be smart with him as well. But Jacob will be back in a full capacity practice, and we'll see how he's doing, see how many reps he'll get in the game. But it'll just be a big lift for us just having him for however many reps we get. And then Jakari, he broke a bone in his hand, so we'll have to kind of see what happens here, whether, we club him up and he plays with a soft cast or, what we're able to do there. He's in good spirits. It's in like his finger/hand. So going forward, we'll see, what the doctors say.
Are you able to tell us anything about Bryson Strong's situation? Do you think it's going to be back this year?
I don't think Bryson will be back this year. I think that, Bryson's got to do what's best for him and his health. He's had 2 surgeries, possibly going to have another surgery on his hand, just the way that it healed. And with Bryson, we're just talking more longevity of life after football, of feeling good and making sure that, so he's going to have another surgery on his hand, but he won't be back this season. And I'm in 100% support of that. I think that that's the best decision for Bryson. And so, when you look at this, sometimes people take for granted, sometimes I think what all these guys go through and their bodies go through and play a middle linebacker at a high level for multiple years, what it does. And when a kid comes here and he signs and he graduates and he plays at a high level and it's time to be done with football, that's a good decision. You came here and were a great Saluki, and you got your degree, and you played at a high level, and you led our team in tackles, and you led us to the playoffs. And so we'll see what, after he gets done with this, what he's going to do, for next year. But as far as this year goes, Bryson will be out.
And do you think the champion of the Missouri Valley will have a loss, or do you think the champion will be undefeated?
Well, I hope they have a loss. I'll be rooting for them to have a loss. So obviously we can just control what, we had an opportunity to kind of control our own destiny. We have a loss now. What I told our team, I mean, anytime you're a competitor and you do anything, you're always going to kind of have a bad taste in your mouth until you can go back out there and get another win. And that's what we got to do, and get to 5-1 and hope somebody knocks the other team on top of us off.